don't do it. Don't you do it. Trust me. Well, yeah, but how else am I going to get an approval? Okay, fine. I don't condone it, but if you're going to do it, you should know a few things. So I'll talk to you about what happens when you lie to the Home Office, but what I'm also going to tell you is that there are circumstances where you might have lied to the Home Office or exaggerated your claim, but it's still okay. First thing you need to understand is what the Home Office are capable of in relation to data. The Home Office have been collecting data on people since before I was even born, which means anytime any application is made, they are going to cross-reference it with everything. So when you make an application or any communication with the Home Office, which means you write to them, you speak to them over the phone, you send in an application, somebody else sends them documentation and representations about you. It'll all be solidified in their system against your particular case, which means any caseworker that is working on your case has access to all of that. And the system is such that whenever information is put into the record, it solidifies with a timestamp, which means they know when you did what, when somebody said what about you, when you said what about you. So whenever you're making an application that you've already made, treat them as a gossip culture where any person who is going to be dealing with your file will have access to the system that has everything about you, and it will tell them everything about you by having specific markers against your name. So if you've deceived the Home Office, for instance, it may have a marker against your name which says D. This person has deceived the Home Office before, which means whenever the Home Office or any representative looks at your file, they'll see that D, which means that's a quicker way for them to understand that you have lied to them in the past. Just like this, there are various other markers that bring to their attention things that they need to know about you before they start considering your case. So now let's say you've lied in this particular application and they've discovered that it's a lie. Well, they'll refuse the application for that lie, and also they'll make a marker on the system which alerts everybody in the Home Office that will be dealing with your particular case that you have lied, in which case it will have repercussions on every future application that you make. Sometimes when you deceive the Home Office, depending on what application you're making, you might be banned for 10 years. Sometimes that deception is discretionary and they can refuse your application based on it. However, there are certain circumstances where you might have deceived the Home Office, but not for the reasons that the Home Office might think that you've deceived them for. For instance, your lie could be based on cultural reasons. It could be based on background reasons. It could be based on reasons associated with your country and your family. It can be based on anything other than motivated by gaining a material advantage. And this is why we have case law that differentiates the two types of lies. On the one side, there is a lie that is motivated by you gaining entry into the UK or some sort of an advantage. On the other hand, we have lies that are not motivated by gaining an advantage. I'll give you an example about this so that you can fully understand how to differentiate it. And I think this is the perfect example in relation to Home Office data keeping and in relation to what a lie actually is. So, husband abroad, wife here, they want to call him over as a spouse. As you're all probably aware, when you make a spouse visa application, any previous relationships must have been broken down, and the Home Office asks you to declare any previous relationships. Husband was previously married but did not tell wife and did not tell me. However, the elders in the family did know. We completed the application, we sent it through, and it was refused because of deception. What the Home Office had in their file is that he had already been married previously, and from that relationship he tried to come to the UK. I think it was maybe 6-7 years ago, and they had his data that 6-7 years ago husband tried to come into the UK with another partner, and in this application he has said that he's not previously married. So they interviewed him. In the interview, husband said, nope, I haven't been previously married. Boom. Refusal. Based on deception. You have lied to us in the application form. We gave you an opportunity to clarify yourself. You lied to us again. Why did husband lie? Now, husband had been divorced, but he did not tell wife. The reason he did not tell wife is because he did not want to tarnish the relationship. Now, the elders, the wife's parents and the husband's parents, had both known about this and had decided that it was best for their children, the wife and the husband, that this is not disclosed. However you might want to judge that, have a look at the intention. The lie was not so that he would get a material advantage to come into the UK. The lie was because he did not want to discuss his past with his partner, and culturally the elders had decided that it was probably better for her not to know. They still want to be together despite that. But now how do we do it when the Home Office have put a marker on it? This is where the case law comes into play. Now, he had been divorced before he got married to wife, and a long time before he made an application to come into the UK. It is just the fact that he lied that the Home Office were holding on to, but the lie did not give him a material advantage. Now, if he had been honest, there is nothing within this application that would have triggered a refusal, which means his lie does not lead to a material advantage. Now, I hope that makes clear what the difference between the two lies is and why the courts have made this distinction. It's because we're dealing with human beings. We're dealing with very complex creatures from very different backgrounds with very different programming. And there are certain times when what somebody would regard logical is not logical as far as they're concerned. They feel as though what they're doing is the best thing that they could potentially be doing, which is why the intention is important. The motivation is important. Why did this person do this? So just think about the mindset behind this for a moment. You are lying to your solicitor, you are lying to the Home Office, you're lying to the government, all because your parents have said that it's best for you to not tell your partner. It's best for the relationship as far as your elders are concerned. The difference in mentality is absolutely staggering, and this is one of the reasons why it's so crucial to have this law that says what is the motivation and will they get a material advantage. I'll give you another example, but in this particular example, the motivation is to gain a material advantage. But even then, the case law is on the side of the people because of the circumstances that they're in. I should be doing another video on deception, which should drop next week. But in the meantime, if you need assistance with your application and you'd like to instruct us, feel free to get in contact with me.